Live from the Shabby Shack, in association with Liver and Bacon Productions, it's ATW Podcast.
Shabby Shack. Liver and Bacon. Shabby Shack.
ATW Podcast.
One. Just
Two,
so I'm not starting halfway through.
5, 6,
7, 8,
7,
9, 10.
Monday.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the ATW Podcast. 28 minutes
29.
with our guest tonight. And 29. We're going to go with 29. We might go with 30. We might go with 30, but it's an absolute honour to have this gentleman here
31.
with us tonight, or whatever time you're watching this in the world. Okay, he's a piano player, he's a joke teller, he's a songwriter, and he's also a producer. He's actually quite an inspiration of mine, and he's also my mate. His name's Matt Black. Hello,
Hey,
sir.
how are you doing, Alan? It's nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Shabby Shack. What do you think?
This is not so shabby. It's as neat as my studio. This
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Have you got a drink? You're okay?
I've got a cup of tea, and I'm really happy. You've got water. Have you seen my water does the pipes, though?
What?
It's
Anyway,
like
this is
metal.
about you.
It's metal. It's really horrible stuff.
Look, we got loads to talk about, and we've got 28 minutes to do it. And I'm generally a massive fan of yours, but I'm also I really am.
Sometimes you're not.
No. I mean, because also you've been an inspiration behind the scenes as well, because we've talked about things like alcohol addiction and so forth, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the interview or the podcast, as it were. But first off, what was your first ever introduction to entertainment where you got that taste?
Well, apart from like when you're 4 and you're in the school play.
Well, that would be a first introduction.
Yeah, I was a donkey.
You're a donkey. I had the same role.
It's cold now, so they wouldn't work. But I was a donkey in the school play. That's what I was told. I remember bits of that. I think it was after when I was left school, 16, 17. My mates were playing the guitar.
Okay.
We had a piano at home, and I could always play a couple of tunes. I'd never had any lessons, but I could just pick out the tunes.
Do you read music?
No.
No?
I call it the Stevie Wonder method because he doesn't either. Right. But if you think about it, people say, well, it's amazing you don't read music. You say, well, Stevie Wonder doesn't.
I don't think Ray Charles did.
No. And that's another thing, right? They both do that, don't they, right? Okay. So who's copying who and how? Have you ever and if blind people wear dark glasses, why don't deaf people wear earmuffs? It's I can't understand these things. But it's true. I mean, there's one of these keys on a piano makes that note.
Yeah.
So it's 88 notes. So it's better odds than the lottery. You know, you're going to get the right note. But I worked out a pattern. I worked out what went with what in the pictorial, logical way. And it was only simple stuff. Mull of Kintyre, I think, was the first track. But then I saw my mates who played guitar and how popular they were. And I was born with this face, like, you know, we look like twins. So,
it used to be people who would say to me, "Is Matt Black your dad?" A couple of years later, people were like, "Is he your older brother?" And now people say, "Are you two twins?" Yeah. I'm getting concerned. What's it going to be in a couple of years?
Sisters.
Sisters.
Because you've got to be aware. I mean, it's a modern world.
Yeah.
And I was talking to someone who's thinking of transitioning from man to female.
Right.
And I don't care what anyone does. I really don't. It's, you know, my dad was maybe a bit more old-fashioned about this sort of thing, but I live in the old world now, in its new world. And I had to talk to this guy. I said, "Well, do it, but be sure." You know, because I think he'd thought about it quite a lot. And I said, but also you've got to come to terms, if you do transition to a woman and you get legally accepted as a woman, you're going to get paid a lot less for the rest of your life as well, aren't you? So you've got to be careful.
Wow. So I was trying to have a serious conversation, but actually, what's the point?
Well,
what's the point?
It started off, all my mates were getting off with women, and I thought, well, I wasn't born with good looks. I know this. I look like Princess Anne and David Seaman's love child, is what we say. And it does work.
I love it when you're at a gig and you really insult the way you look, and then you turn to me in the audience and go, "But I look just like Alan."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hang on.
We're like a mirror. We do look the same. But it's, you know, I think you carry off better than I do. You've got a lot more self-confidence. I don't actually have self-confidence.
Bravado, Matt. I have to make up for not being able to play piano and not being able to sing as well as you. But I tell you what, I do love being in a room whenever you play. And I'm not even just saying this to blow smoke. Honestly, to watch I love watching an audience when a band plays, regardless of how successful they are on a world scale. I love to see the atmosphere they create in a room. I see it in your son, Chris.
Yeah.
But I see it in Cy Gennaro, who's also a friend of ours.
Amazing.
I see it in Mike Artwell, who's a DJ on the south coast of England. But I suppose watching you guys from a young age, I was always thinking, well, unless if we're getting that back, it's not worth even being here.
It's nice
That's
to know,
where I feel.
It's nice to know you can create that sort of thing. Entertaining is one of those industries where people could look at it as a not important or not necessarily business. He doesn't necessarily does it. If
You're right. Some musicians might say it's not that important what they're doing.
But
they should be sitting and listening. I like to get reaction.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the actual, entertaining people. Some people might look at it like put that next to being a plumber or a surgeon or you know. But then go back to lockdown and what did we miss most?
Or even the Second World War.
Yeah, exactly. So going out and humour is one of the biggest things that got people through the wars.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to the British Army now and do gigs for them, their sense of humour is legendary.
It's fantastic, yeah.
And where would you be without humour?
Germany. I knew you were going to say it, so he knows I'm half German. So Germans do have a sense of humour. It's just a little bit slapstick.
Yeah, it's dry. Yeah, it's good.
It's not that dry. It's just silly. It's just, hey, look, I am naked. That's German humour. Hello, yes, look, I have a cucumber on my forehead.
I'm laughing.
Yeah, it's not as sarcastic. You have to think about British humour a little bit more.
Yes, it's cerebral. Yeah,
very much so. How do you feel about groups like manufactured bands and stuff like that?
I don't like them.
You don't?
I think the way because I work in the business, so I do my own gigs. I play covers. You said I write songs. I write pieces of music more than songs. I've started to write more songs, but there are many songwriters I work with that I look up to massively, and sit in awe in my recording studio with these guys creating these incredible pieces of music that if they were famous, they would be instant number ones. They're better than anything you hear on the radio. So I think the real music business is now, if we're going to put an analogy towards the war, I think the music business now exists within the resistance. And I think you take away all.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by
it's coming back? It's coming back to grassroots.
I agree with that. Yeah,
I think all the real talent is now people in pubs who are fighting for the attention, and
we've almost gone back in time in a weird way.
Yeah,
because there was a time, especially. I mean, I watched the Boyzone documentary last night, and I personally can't deny that I thought, although he was painted, they were trying to paint a really bad picture of him. That Louis Walsh guy, what he did with those four lads, he controlled and manipulated it, that was still a skill.
Well, yeah, that's right. But then again, that's not the music business.
No, that would be the marketing
great
business.
Singers. Yeah. I mean, they had a budget because of their success and the way he raised the money for them.
Yeah.
They put them on a big stage. They had all the special effects. They had to change their clothes.
Great looking guys.
Yeah, and
so
they had big venues.
Yeah.
So they had everything together. Now, you put 5 singers that you can find in Bournemouth and give them the same assets, then you would have something similar. But that's not about music. That's about creating a sensation.
Yeah, well, I say it's about creating a magic.
Yeah, well, yeah,
but yeah, without a doubt, there was 3 of them that weren't even on the albums.
Well, yeah, and that's entertaining. That's about entertaining. So Taylor Swift, entertainer now. Yeah, it's all about how big can we make this? I look at that screen and look at the diving into the thing and all the rest of it. But then grassroots people who are actually writing songs that mean something to you, and all they've got, a bit like Ed Sheeran. So Ed Sheeran again bucked the trend.
Yeah.
Even though now he's got the big machine around him, I think he's done it in a way that he hasn't really changed. He's still, I think, very much the guy.
I know you're a big Adele fan, aren't you?
I love her. Yeah. You wouldn't look at her and go, pop star.
No.
But you do.
Would you say she's one of the best ones in the last, this century?
Best voices, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And songs, she writes about things that you could imagine her in those situations.
I mean, the thing is, music is a little bit like food, though, isn't it? In the sense you can't tell someone you must like this. you're either going to like it or
Yeah.
you're not going to like
Yeah,
it.
it's a
But
matter
you
of
can't
taste.
deny when something is done well. Even if you don't like steak, you still can't look at it and go,
Difficult to
"That's not
measure.
well."
It's difficult to measure. The way I look at music
Yeah.
is you get the charts, okay, and everyone's got the number one. Everyone's want the number one. Yeah, that's fine. You know, you can get number one now for like 10,000 records a week or something.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't really mean anything.
Can you even tell me who is number one this week?
No.
Do you know anyone in the top 10?
No.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah. No.
Isn't it weird? Because in the
I remember
80s,
my dad not doing it when he was my age as well.
that's not true, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think
my dad definitely would have known, and he was useless with stuff like that. But yeah, he would have. I think your average grandmother would have known in
Maybe.
1985.
there were
who
less
was number
channels
one.
as well. You'd all watch telly
Yeah.
together, wouldn't you? So
Yeah, I suppose Top of the Pops was
yeah.
a thing that you had to
And
watch
on the
wasn't
radio.
it? Yeah,
So, but I think the music business is not a race where someone's best. The music business is a house of cards where all the cards are in it, but you take the bottom one out and everything falls down. Take the top one out, it still falls down, but they're all as important as each other in a different way. So I think that's the way we should look at it. So that means then it doesn't matter if you like blues or you like punk or you like anything like this or rap. There's only one letter missing. Right, but all of this
again, that's your opinion.
yeah, that's right. But if you look at all that, but in there somewhere is what you like, and even genres now are so blurred that you really can't tell most people. You know, that isn't rock now. That's rock, fusion, funk with a little bit of blues in it. It's all mixed up. So I think that's great because then people are finding out what they actually want to listen to, and people are fulfilling that. But the record companies have taken the music business down the wrong road, and they've made all the money about it and left the artists with nothing.
But there isn't that much money in the record business anymore, so a lot of it is a lot more authentic.
But
like you say.
we've got people making records now from my little studio, which is more like Shabby Road, right? But it's just I'm telling them to sell on vinyl now, dropship vinyl. And they're making one sale, which is more than they'd make on Spotify in 10 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So they are actually pressing their stuff onto vinyl?
Yeah, we can do it drop shipping now. You don't have to buy it out. You have to buy like a case of it. You can send the files off to companies now, and they order it, and then they send it to them, and you get the profit.
See, people keep telling me that vinyl's coming back in for DJing and so
huge.
forth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't carry around.
Yeah, you don't like that because the USB stick's a lot lighter.
No, I've got 2 iPads and they are very useful. Do you know the amount of songs I can carry around in that thing? And a lot of it's in cloud as well.
But you actually have your setup. It's like it's vinyl. You can scratch and turn them around.
I can do all of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are doing there's a way to do vinyl that it looks like vinyl, but they're actually, but a lot of people that say it sounds better on vinyl. I think a lot of the time, when a song originally came out on vinyl, I think that song will sound better on vinyl.
Yeah.
But the same way, if you're now making songs for vinyl, that song will also sound better on vinyl. So it's good.
There's something analog about a vinyl.
I think Elton John's, his last album, he brought out first on vinyl as well.
But then the process would be he may not have done, but he probably recorded it digitally first. So you're losing something already by that if you're going to go down the digital route. But I just like the idea. What I think vinyl's important for is you can't make it at home. So if you've got an artist and you want to support the artist, you spend 20 quid on an album, right? And you buy the album. One, you've got more real estate to read about them and the lyrics and things because it's nice to tactilely hold these things, right? But also, you can't copy that at home. If you just release it on vinyl, they have to point the microphone next to the radio and and make a recording of it, which it won't be perfect.
So let's go back a bit. Let's rewind a bit because you talked about 16. Sorry, I just want to go.
Yeah.
So 16, you started playing piano.
Roughly, yeah.
But at what point? What came first, the music or the jokes?
Oh, the music, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm a pianist first, I think. Yeah.
Because you do deliver a joke. I mean, there is one thing about being able to tell a joke, and there's another thing about being able to deliver it in front of a crowd.
Yeah,
and I can't. I've done it so many times, and I'll have it ready, but then I'm all right if it's freestyle and I can talk to a crowd.
You can do it,
but I can't do a planned joke if that makes sense. And you just have this log of this library in your brain, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're telling jokes to your mates when you're flowing, right? Someone will tell you a joke and it'll remind you of something else. So then you're flowing. So that's actually the key to having an audience. If you've got an audience, don't tell one joke and then a joke about something separate. Link it. Link it along somehow.
So it's a bit like linking the music, really.
Yeah. And what happens is when you're
that.
telling a joke to somebody, right?
Yeah.
You're painting the picture that's in your head and you're describing it to them. And then the reason they laugh is actually a chemical reaction. I mean, there's something about analysing jokes, but it's a chemical reaction. You change their perception of what the situation is. And Jimmy Carr did a lot of studies in this and find that that's
He's
what,
great.
Yeah, and that's what a joke is. So if I paint a picture to you, for example, let me do a quick thing. If, this, everyone knows there's two polar bears, right? Mum, yes, why am I, what are we? We're polar bears. What do we do? We're in the Arctic and we can survive in like Arctic conditions. He says, so why am I so cold? Right. So what you've done is switch. Oh, crikey, yeah. Do you see what I mean? So, and then if you did another one, like two camels, Mum, why have we got long, squashy feet? She goes, well, that's in case in the desert there's lots of soft sand, so we don't sink. Why have we got really long eyelashes? It's because if there's a sandstorm, we blink a lot. Why have we got humps on our back? Because we carry water. And then if we're in the desert for a long time, we don't die of thirst. And then he goes, Mum, why are we in Bristol Zoo? So what I've done, and if I told one of them, at the same time, one of them, and you'd have a laugh, but two of them you've built on it.
Yeah.
And the link there is animals.
God, it's a bit like building beats, isn't it? So was there anybody you met in a pub? Because I know you used to like drinking in the pubs and so forth. Was it someone in a pub where you learned to do that? Or did you watch an actual comedian?
I think I've always had a sense of humour.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Delivering it, you're right, is a key, is a knack to it.
Massive.
But I think, again, if you deliver it the right way, you've got a rhythm to what you do, paint the picture, make it clear for people.
Yeah.
And then tell them what, and twist that's how you do it. So a lot of people babble through a joke and they can't understand why anyone didn't get it.
So was there anyone specific when you were younger that suddenly that you saw and you thought, oh, I'm going to bring that into my act?
Well, Billy Connolly, Eddie Izzard, I think. I'd use Eddie Izzard quite a lot because he's very clever. Yeah, very clever. He says... He talks about why isn't the world overrun with ducks? Because he goes on about not being a religious person, right? And he said there's Noah's Ark. He says, so why haven't we got millions of ducks? Because they float. And it's like one of those logical things. And then talking about logic, it's Billy Connolly, perfect. Who's the bloke that discovered you can get milk from cows? And what did he think he was doing at the time? Absolutely brilliant. He didn't just see it; he observed it and then took it a step further. He goes, "There's a sign in LA that says to the Braille School. Who the hell is that for?" It's true. Why do they put a sign up for it? It's true. All these things. What do you get? What colour does a Smurf if you strangle it? Why is abbreviation such a long word? It's loads of things on it. Who invented the word dyslexic? Was it the same bloke who put an S in the middle of lisp? It's all of these things are just. But Billy Connolly is great at that observation stuff, and absolutely brilliant. And he did it the way I did it. So he had the.
So he would be the guy that you looked at first and thought, I can do that too.
Yeah, I sort of recognised. I was when I liked the comedians. That was like Mike Reed and Stan Boardman and all the rest of that. And
Mike
that was
Reed
just
from EastEnders.
They're all standing up.
Not the DJ.
Not
the DJ.
Right. But they're all standing up on a microphone, like in suits, like with handkerchiefs in their pockets.
It was very classy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Like the Working Man's Club thing. And so they just tell jokes. But then I think Billy Connolly, Alternative, they called it Alternative at the time. And Eddie Izzard, genius. Then you got Lee Evans, more slapstick again, but just really clever. But all of these guys, what happened with Billy is that he was a musician first, folk musician. He was with Jerry from Baker Street,
Rafferty.
Jerry Rafferty.
Yeah,
the Humble Bums, I think, were called, or something like that. But they had a band, but he was a folk musician, and his links got longer. Eventually, he left the ukulele at home. And he became a stand-up comedian. And he'd never had a plan. He'd just talk about what is in his head.
Have you ever done that where you've just done stand-up? Where you've just
did it once.
Yeah.
Oh, scared the hell out of me.
Did it? Because do you feel that to a certain degree that your piano is your safety net?
The psychology behind that, and it's absolutely true. And I was just saying how, lugging a piano around for 33 years, it's actually a shield. But what I'm doing with the piano, I'm sitting there playing a tune, telling a joke. Now, especially in England, okay, it is, I'm not being racist here, especially in England. If you stand up and say, I'm going to tell you a joke, immediately everyone's nervous in case they don't find it funny and in case it all turns sour, right?
Yeah.
They're nervous for you. They want you to succeed. But that nervousness, that embarrassment, it's impossible to get people to laugh through it, right? So if you're just doing something else, like a guitar or piano, and you tell a joke, you've got another string. You can go back to playing. If that doesn't work, you're going to play another. Oh, I go carry on being a piano player then, and you can play another tune. But you haven't stopped the show. You've got something else to fall back on. So you've actually sort of sideswiped that embarrassment, and people aren't going, right, make me laugh. It's not the only thing you're going to do.
Yeah,
so it's easier
and I suppose
to
you
deliver.
can say, but the thing is, your average comic can't play piano. So
Well,
I mean,
you have Les Dawson, and he'd argue that he couldn't as well.
you did do that at a couple of gigs, didn't you?
Yeah.
And I go, do the Les Dawson.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's easy. Someone says it's really hard to do. No, it's very easy to go wrong.
But not planned.
I think
Not
just get to keep
planned
the
like
right
that.
rhythm. Yeah, I mean there is a bit of thought that goes into it.
So what you obviously did you did all over the South Coast for a long time. I know you played in Spain quite a bit as well,
Yeah,
didn't
I
you?
was in Seville for the Expo in 1992.
Because you've got a son in Spain.
I do. He lives in Portugal now.
Portugal,
he's
okay.
English, and but they moved over there when he was young.
Does he do music?
He does. He's learned the guitar. Chris, my oldest son, has taught him a bit of
Right.
guitar. Yeah,
So, but he's not pursuing it, or
I think he's interested in it, but he's got a lot more things going on. He lives on the Algarve.
does he play golf?
Yes,
Is
and
that his
got-
thing?
I think his stepdad Andy, he's got a company over there which hires golf clubs. It's a really clever idea, and Jack works with him, and it's
Wow.
it's a brilliant business to be in. So,
Does he come over here a lot? Then?
not a lot, but when
No.
he does, we catch up. Yeah,
Well, great to meet him sometime.
yeah.
but,
No.
So you did all that. So you're all over the place, and then suddenly, at what point did you start writing, or were you always writing then as well?
I don't. Yeah, as I said, writing. I've been trying to write a song that I wanted to listen back to for a long time, and I write music easily.
Yeah.
Give me something on the screen, and I can write to that easily. But to write,
A bit like
words,
Elton.
Yes, I think he does that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. He sees lyrics, doesn't he? And then he can hear the tune behind it. Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive fan of Elton John. I think he's probably most inspirational to me, actually. But his it's when I write a song, I've never want. It's terrible, and I can't get through it. And I've been talking to a lot of songwriters, and they say to me, and I've finally got through to it. But they say, whatever you're writing, finish it, even though it's terrible.
Okay.
And I thought, I do that. But then, you learn from that. But if you stop, you think, that's terrible, put your hands up. You never get past that hurdle.
I like the song you wrote about the dog. A dog that passed away. It's actually it sounds like a really morbid song, but do you know the one I'm
Old
talking
Shep, is it?
about? It's from 2002.
Oh, really?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music and stuff, and I've used it on TikTok. a few
Emotion,
times and
you
stuff.
see.
Yeah, no, definitely. Mate. You said you woke up on another interview we did.
Oh,
You
sorry,
said you
yes.
woke up. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called now. It was about Harry. Yeah, my retriever.
It was a
I
really good song.
dreamt around the tune. I dreamt about the tune.
You dreamt about it, but not about the lyrics.
I don't know how that happened. It must have been the music first, though.
Was it?
Yeah. But it's just, it comes to me. But now I've written songs I actually quite like. And, and I will do an originals thing. And I work with all these other artists. So they're sort of teaching me that you can keep on going.
Well, what I've done, obviously, I've got an album out and it's on your label.
Mm.
But I mean, I'm one of many, many people now on your label. And within
Yeah.
the South Coast now, you are, I mean, somehow this Hangover Hill has just become a little bit of a monster. I mean, on my radio show, I must be every month have about two or three people that are signed to your label and it's always first class. It's world class. It's
Well,
world class music.
Thank you. I mean, we work with the artists to get to what they want. My as a producer, my rule is not to try and change the song
No.
unless I think it needs like an introduction or there's something that's in it that's missing or something like that. And then we'll talk about how we can fill that in. But if for example, let's say you want to release a record, which you have. Let's say you're a painter instead of an audio artist, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to change the painting, but I would want to change the lighting that it was on and the frame and all the rest of it to make it look its best. That's where I come in. So making records with people, but we're not an expensive studio. We're I would say a mid-range studio, but we can go right from the beginning.
Oh, no, but it's a world class studio.
Well,
Let's not get that.
We record. Yeah, we've got number ones through Helena Mace. She's been number one in Canada more than once.
And Jason Lloyd Bevis. Jason.
Yeah.
Well, no, he did this. We had him on the show.
Yeah.
A whole album in 1 year, every month, a song for my radio show, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it was really good music. I mean, really good stuff I could totally see it on a Netflix special or something like that, or a Netflix series.
It is good music. He's got a good rock voice as well.
He's got a great rock voice.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's, once again, that's one of many. I mean, I know Susie Kimball works with you a lot, and
She's brilliant.
she said to me the other day, she was asked actually by this very successful German and Portuguese producer that have had hit records out there to be on, and she said, no, I like working with Matt.
Oh, yeah,
Honestly,
that's lovely.
Yeah, she did. She did actually say that.
There's a lot of traps out there. I mean, a lot of these producers will try and work with you, and then they'll own, most of the rights. And that happened to Hazel O'Connor. She never made anything out of Will You? And
Right.
she recorded that. They knew it was going to be a hit. She signed a bit of paper in the studio. Never made any money out of that.
We're in a weird time with music, but we're also in a great time. It's just shifted, hasn't it? And we said this earlier on about how. So in 2004, George Michael said that by 2025 there won't really be superstars anymore. There will be segregations of successful people in music. And I think that emphasizes your point. There's no longer this manufacturing guy with a cigar saying, I'm going to make this guy the biggest guy. And it really is actually quite authentic.
Now. They're accountants now. They know how to get the capital up and sell records. It doesn't matter about the music. I mean, Taylor Swift, we all know. Can you sing one of her songs?
Yeah, but I could. But yeah, of course I can.
Yeah, of course
I'm a pop tart.
Yeah,
of course I can.
But I can't.
I bet Steve can as well. Yes, you can. Love story. Come on.
I can't.
Never, ever, ever getting back together. Shut up. Don't get me started.
Now you say it. But I think it's all about
bad example.
Icons. So there are icons. I think mediums have changed. People don't watch television as much. Radio's as strong as ever.
Do you think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's as important as ever, would you say?
Yes, I think so, because people listen to it more. They're in the car.
What about podcasts?
Well, after this one, they're going to go right up.
Boom. Yeah, George Michael was wrong. It won't be segregated. This will be everywhere.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I do think that if they're trying to ruin it, there's a lot of artists who, I'm trying to get the words out. How many artists, and it's impossible to answer, how many artists are not existing now because they haven't had the money to record something, but they had a great track?
Well, similarly, like I talked about like the Boyzone thing and the manufactured thing in the 90s and the 80s, even down to the 60s, the companies had the money to kind of develop an artist. Now, you're very necessary in the industry for these guys because they are developing while you're with them, but they have to be good. You can't wing that.
But that's brilliant.
You're not just colouring it in, but there are no boy bands
so
at the moment.
You're not picking 5 guys that can sing and making them to stars.
No.
Because you haven't earned it.
It's very much a case of one thing you can't deny with you can't even deny it with Taylor Swift because she was really out of the industry in 2019, and from nowhere she has built this thing all on with her own.
She's very clever as well. I like the way she re-recorded her tracks.
Yeah, that was
clever. That she took the wind out of the sails, and I think that's what I'm all about. I prefer this resistance winning the war thing.
Yeah, so do I.
And make your own records, sell them yourself, let people come to you. You get the money, you market it. All right, you won't make millions and millions, but you'll make a living at it. You don't need millions. You need enough to pay the bills. And if you're a musician, I've been a musician for 33 years, right? And with the studio for the last 20 years roughly, right? If you made money at that, and I wake up in the morning and feel like I haven't worked a day in my life. I'm doing something I love doing. I haven't got a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough to pay the bills. And that's the grey area. I don't have to worry about
a lot of money for one person might not be a lot of money for someone else.
Yeah, I think I've got enough to pay the bills we want to,
Do you know what? I say we go on a little bit, Steve. Yeah, we go on. I know it's supposed to be 28 minutes, but this is good. This is good. We just told me 2 minutes. I said, I asked Matt one question. It lasts 3 minutes.
How long do I last in bed? Would it be 2 minutes?
Right. So, out of all the things that you do, so obviously you're kind of mentoring young musicians. We're
trying to make it easy for them to come to make it.
Well, you're recording, you're producing, but you're still performing a lot.
Yeah, we put them on the radio, and then we put them into the Lighthouse as well if they're good enough. As well.
Exactly, and then you've got that also sort of like a local Brits, haven't you?
The OMAs,
the OMAs.
That'll be that'll be huge one day.
It will be. Well, it's already rolling, isn't it?
Yeah. We've done 2 at the big room in the lighthouse, and that costs thousands to hire.
Yeah,
but we were able to just do it without losing any money.
It's just recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, 17th of January.
You had who was there? Who got that?
PJ Harvey won.
PJ Harvey.
Yeah, she's Dorset based, so yeah.
I had no idea.
No, neither really. But someone said it in our.
It's not my bag at all, but you cannot deny the success.
Well, she's incredible. Once you look into it, I didn't know much about her. I'm a to be honest. But when we looked into it, we all looked into it. The panel, Mel and my wife and I, we don't actually do any of the voting. There's a panel, so we're separate from that. We just mediate if we need to at all. I try not to at all. But someone came up with this and said, well, she's based in Dorset and comes back to Dorset, uses Dorset dialect in some of her songs.
Was she lovely? Was she nice?
She's beautiful. She's absolutely fantastic. Real honest artist. And I'm afraid ashamed to say I didn't know anything about her, but now I do. I think she's fantastic. I
think, I'm clearly a pop tart. I love my cheese and all that stuff. But I love hip hop and R&B and all that stuff. And I went to see U2 in concert in 1997, hoping only because I wanted to see the Stereo MCs play support. That was the only reason I even went. And then they went, Stereo MCs aren't going to make it tonight, but here's PJ Harvey. And I was like, it was just far too intellectual for me. Not my bag at all.
She's a little bit Alanis Morissette.
Very.
But I think you just have to dig into it and find out.
Look, like I said earlier, you can't deny that it's brilliantly done.
She's got a name for a reason, and she's earned it.
Yeah.
As well, yeah.
Right, I'm going to go on a bit of a weirder one. I want to touch on this, and I hope you don't mind me touching on this because from a personal angle, I've phoned you many times when I've gone, oh man, I'm drinking too much. I've really got to stop drinking. I'm really, really worried. And before you got here, Steve, who's the production partner over there, he said, right, Alan, you need a drink. Come on, you're a bit tense. And I said, no, not having a drink. He said, Matt Blatt's going to be here soon. He's having a drink. I said, I don't think he is.
Yeah,
all right, he is not.
A lot of people would say that. Yeah. No, 11 and a bit years ago. In April, it'll be 12.
Isn't that bizarre? And so I met you. Well, congratulations first off. But I met you, I think it must have been 6 months after you stopped drinking then.
Yeah.
So that's bizarre because everybody I know that's known you long has a brilliant Matt Black story.
Yeah, and we're
no disrespect, and none of it was nasty. It's always
we're trying to do an autobiography, but I can't remember any of it. But the thing is, some of those stories, I'm sure they're not right. But then you hear it 2 or 3 times, and I really don't know. Sometimes I really don't know. And I knew I was a bit of a hellraiser. I knew I didn't care, and
what age did you start drinking?
I was 16, I think I was when I started drinking.
And did you have a taste for it straight away? Would you say?
I wouldn't say that. I lived in those days, and that was 40 years ago.
Yeah,
right. In those days, everybody was drinking.
Yeah, it was almost abnormal.
If you weren't drinking, you were really odd, right?
Yeah,
and it was a part of the culture. And then the goalposts have changed, the social ways have changed, things like that. I was a terrible person when I was drunk. Okay, the people that were closest to me were scared of me. I was angry about everything all the time.
I suppose I hear stories about you from other comedians and other entertainers where they say, oh man, it was so much fun when he used to drink because he used to do this tequila song and all that jazz. So you were not terrible on stage. It didn't affect your stage performance.
I think it did. I mean, I missed gigs, and
did you miss gigs?
Yeah, and I've stopped halfway through them and fell off the chair. Yeah.
Would you play on when they've told you to stop as well?
No. I'm fine. Okay, I'm going. Okay.
Did you honestly never show? Would that happen sometimes that you might book?
Yeah, but I was local pubs and things like that. It was never any really, really big gigs. I did a lot of corporate stuff, and I always did those. But with pubs, I mean, if I had a drink in the afternoon, very often it was a fight between the priority of getting to the gig or just carrying on being in the pub. And I didn't like that I was not in control of that after a while. So it took me a while to realize I was hurting the people around me because they could see it. And I've ruined relationships because of it. I got divorced through my drinking. It was part of that. And a long-term relationship with a beautiful lady called Nikki. And I just didn't feel I was treating her right. So I left. And I felt I need to get I need to break. She didn't want that to happen. And I didn't really want it to happen, but I just couldn't go on the way it was going.
I met Nikki.
Yeah. And we still sort of chat on Facebook and things like that. But
that's great.
Anyway, but I needed.
Are you friends now? And
Yeah,
have
I think
you,
so.
have you done that whole 12-step thing where you?
No.
No.
I went to AA. Didn't really work for me because everyone was talking about vodka for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then it finishes at 9:30, and then you go past 3 pubs. All right, and then after the third time you've been, you think, I'll go to one pub, and they're all in there. right. But the other thing is, I'm not a religious person. They base the highest power on religion.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine said, go to NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous. I thought, well, that's a bit strong. He said, no, but it's about substances. If you can be food addicted and go to NA.
Yeah.
And I went there, and it's slightly less about that. It's about whatever your higher power is rather than God. Because I'm not a religious person. I just don't see it. But it's about whatever high. And I believe in fate, and I believe in karma. So that was my higher point. And
but that sort of is having a higher power, isn't it?
It is, really, yeah. Something that you're not controlling, and you earn the right. But that's just me. But and then I realized it was making me feel like I wanted to drink more by listening to people who talked about, vodka for 3 hours.
Well, no, I went as well, if I'm honest with you. And I've actually come to terms with, I'm very good at stopping completely.
Great.
And then when I do drink, I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a great stage to be. Not everyone has this. I
plan when. And
I have one drink.
It's very German. I plan when,
yes.
and I plan when not.
Yeah, that's a good trait to have.
But like today, clearly not. I've got 3 gigs back to back, and I want to be good at all of them this weekend.
Good for you.
So there's no way I'm having.
I think
a drink.
if you're aware it can get you.
Yeah.
And Chris, my lad, is.
Yeah.
He's seen how bad it was. I mean, a number of times I missed on going to go and see him because I was pissed and picking up from school and things like this.
No, I don't think he's missed anything, has he?
Oh, no, Chris was part of the reason. He's part of the strength that I got. I did it because of my kids. First off, because I wasn't going to do it for me. I didn't really like me, so I did it for people that mattered.
I will agree with the AA thing that you're in there, and this would be my argument, because I think you are what you say you are. So if you're sitting there and saying, I've got this thing and it's a real monster, and I'm scared of Monster Munch or something.
Yeah.
It's amazing how that thing will stay. What you resist persists.
Yeah. No, it's feeding the bad wolf, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. But is that how you felt a little bit then, would you say?
Yeah, no, you're out of control of your feelings. But once I got sober, I was in control of my feelings. Now I actually like me. And because of that, I married the most amazing person I could have ever wanted. I can't tell you how I wake up in the morning every day and think, how did this happen? Yeah. Literally. And it's because you're being good to yourself.
Yeah.
You're that comes out, that shows to people. You're then happy with things.
Now, were you producing artists as much when you were drinking?
No, that only really happened in the last 15 years.
So that has changed significantly then. So you've now got your own, in essence, massive enterprise with Hangover Hill.
Yeah, no, it's about 5 different income streams onto it. And Mel and I both run it, but it wouldn't be there without her. I wouldn't be able to do it without the input, her handling the diary and doing all the admin.
She's great. She's really, and she's running Chris and Jordan, her son, who's brilliant as well.
Yeah. The whole family's a pension.
So out of all the things that you do, so with all of it, which one is specifically your favourite, would you say?
I think because of
all the hats you're wearing, as it were.
Yeah, no, I think watching a song grow in the studio and releasing it and watching people's faces when they hear it.
Would you say you're an introvert or an extrovert?
I think I'm an introvert. I'm a very good actor. I act like someone who's confident and funny on stage. Yeah. I think that's what I am. I say I'm an extrovert. Actually, extroverts can appear introvert, can't they? There's a weird way of looking at it. I think
you can be both as well. You can have moments of extrovertness, as it were.
In that case, there's 24 of me in there.
Yeah.
There is.
But I think naturally you are one, and I think, do you know what's interesting? I did a gig with you once at Chapel Gate.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know whether you remember it, but
do.
We did it, and I remember you stopped your performance, and I don't know why, but I think someone else played then. So we were going back to back.
Yeah.
But I saw you in the car straight afterwards. You don't know I was watching it, which is a bit creepy. But anyway, it's a bit creepy. But I just saw you like looking out the window, but kind of looking into thin air, like,
yeah.
And I thought, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Just relax. Steve saw me. Whenever I finished a radio show, or whatever, I'm just like,
yeah.
And then
that might have been because I just moved the grand piano out of Chapel Gate. There's the mental and the physical strain that goes on. You and your laptops. Oh, got 2 USBs this time. Where's my roadie?
Right, I'm afraid we've got to wrap it up now. Last question, though. Where are you going to be in 5? Actually, we've got 2 last questions. Where are we going to be in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Actually, what I'm doing now, I'm picking and choosing the gigs I want to do. We work in the studio when I want to. Our overheads are less because we've had a narrowboat built, so we don't have a mortgage now. So,
that's the point. When are you moving on that?
As soon as it's finished, it should be a month or 2. But
you're going to be living on a canal.
Yeah. Well, I'm going a lot more places. I've got a camper van as well now. So Mel and I, we often go camping somewhere or go to a hotel or something like this. But it's
freedom.
We've got to the point where I wanted to be in 5 years' time. So so things are going our way that way. So I'm happy with about that.
And what's your favourite fast food?
I would say an Indian.
Indian?
Yeah.
Is that fast food? Would we call that junk food even?
No, I think I think they cook it properly there. There's a great place in Wimbledon called Wimbledon.
Well, that's just your favourite food is Indian.
Well, it's exciting. It's tasty, I mean, it's easy to get at McDonald's and that tastes good at the same time. Kentucky Fried Chicken is fantastic. All us athletes love everything.
Matt Black, thank you very much.
It's
indeed.
Great to see you.
God
Thanks,
bless.
Allan. Cheers, mate.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. See you next time. ATW Podcast.
If you're driving...
Mm-hmm.